NASCAR at Texas Motor Speedway. You guys know me. Every time I have to say those words, I am never looking forward to it. But I want to start this video by saying this. Shout out to the race fans that paid their hard-earned money to go to that race today, because it was brutally hot. And there ain't no shade or anything like that. And their racetrack that, I'm assuming, as they go to Texas Motor Speedway, that's their home racetrack, they live nearby, has been destroyed, over the years. It is terrible. It's the worst racetrack in America. So, and they still show up. Bravo, guys. Bravo. I give you my sincerest praise. I don't know what the words are, because there's no way in God's green earth I'm spending my money to go to that racetrack. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. But today's race, in a lucky way for us as race fans, was more chaotic. It was a little bit chaotic, a little bit crazy, a little bit things happening, a little bit wild cardish. And that's the only way you're going to get entertainment from Texas, because I promise you, there's absolutely no way you get good racing from Texas Motor Speedway. We saw that today again. It's not possible to race at Texas Motor Speedway because it's one of the worst racetracks to ever exist. And every time we race there, I wish that we could just get one massive bulldozer and just bulldoze the whole thing down after the race and just say, you know what, we'll come back next year with a brand new configuration and move on. But that's not going to happen anytime soon, and they'll probably just turn it into another Atlanta Motor Speedway right now, which is a 1.5 mile super speedway, because that's what they'll probably do. That's my little rant on Texas Motor Speedway done. Please do not look at my hair. It's still so disgusting. What a disgusting haircut. I want to give a shout out to all the Patreon members, as always, for supporting the channel, and thank you guys for your support, because I desperately need it on days like today. Guys, if you don't know, I'm moving right now. I'm moving into a new apartment, and I started that move yesterday. I'm back home in South Florida, but I currently don't have a bed frame back in the apartment. The next few days are going to be very complicated. Let's just say that. So, if you've ever moved, it's never fun. Things just never go to plan, okay? It's not fun. So I was a little bit tired today, so maybe that has influenced my my feelings. The first 100 laps of this race I was listening to in the car, because I was driving from Orlando to South Florida. But Bubba Wallace dominated. Bubba Wallace dominated those first 100 laps because he qualified on pole. He led every single lap, and the race was kind of going to plan. It was going to the normal Texas Motor Speedway race where track position means everything. So that's what was going to happen. But then cautions started happening. I think it started with Austin Dillon and a loose wheel. And he ends up crashing. And just more crazy incidents kind of happened. It was the timing of the cautions, actually, too. So the timing of the incidents, that first yellow came kind of in the middle of green flag stops, where some guys were able to stay out and stuff like that. But everyone pitted, and, people got their wave around. It was fine. It was more of the second caution. The second caution comes out with only a few laps left in the stage, and unfortunately for Bubba Wallace, this is where I feel kind of bad for him. So as you guys know, Bubba Wallace, no playoff points all year long, so he needs points. Obviously, you lead the first stage, you're dominating, everything's going to plan, and a caution comes out at one of the worst possible times, because if you stay out, yes, you get the 10 playoff or the 10 stage points and the 1 playoff point. But then you give up all your track position, and you're going to have to restart like 20th or something. It was just a really tough call. And so Bubba Wallace and his crew chief decided to come down pit lane, as do the majority of people. There are about 7 or 8 guys that decided to stay out. Some guys even took 2 tires. I think Truex was one that took 2 tires. In a weird way, with how the race played out, that track position meant even more. So Bubba Wallace was not able to get really up through the field. And guys like Kyle Larson and guys like Denny Hamlin start going up there. Eric Jones with a very good run. But, speaking of Denny Hamlin, he gets his right side of his car torn off by a teammate on pit road. So him and Ty Gibbs made contact, and the right side of his car is all damaged. Now, he still was really fast, but obviously that definitely had some aero issues, especially at a track like Texas. Texas is so aero dependent. Hamlin was still fast, but I'm telling you, he was definitely losing some speed there. So I think Denny Hamlin was probably the one guy that we didn't see what kind of speed he had. Larson, who ends up leading the majority of the middle part of the race, because he gets up there, gets his track position. Bubba Wallace, who, and we're not even talking about Bubba Wallace losing track position that much. He went back to 10th. It wasn't like he fell back to 20th. But it is so hard to get track position to make passes at Texas. And this is just my opinion, watching today's race, guys. I think it's very clear that even at mile and a half, and maybe I have to look back at some of the next gen races at Texas, because I'm pretty sure they suck too. But I just don't remember that Dirty Air being like that bad. I don't know. I just think the cars have a lot more downforce into them with the way the teams are upgrading the cars. And obviously they're making them more aero dependent, and so the Dirty Air is becoming worse and worse. But Texas, I don't want to talk about the race car today because it's just Texas Motor Speedway. Texas Motor Speedway is what causes these issues with how the track is laid out, with 1 and 2 just being the most disgusting abomination of a corner or turn at a racetrack I've ever seen in my life. And it would come to play today. I mean, there was, I kind of skipped the middle part of the race because it was kind of meh, like track position, green flag stops, no one's passing anyone. Larson was leading by like 7 seconds, I think. Eric Jones was running top 3 or something like that. That was very, very impressive. But I'll be honest, I had most of my eyes on Bubba Wallace today. And I do want to actually say one thing about Christopher Bell. I keep picking him to win these races as well, guys. And his pick, I don't understand. I know that's not even the same pit crew. I know Bell's pit crew from the regular season was abysmal. And then they take Ty Gibbs' pit crew and move him to Bell. And apparently they were really, really good all season. And then in the playoffs, every time I'm picking Christopher Bell or thinking Christopher Bell is going to do very well, 15-second pit stop. Brother. I don't know what's going on at Joe Gibbs Racing, but that 20 pit crew. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, yeah. It's just something that's bothering me because I want to see Christopher Bell do well, and poor guy's losing spots on pit road every time. No, but my eyes were on Bubba Wallace today, right? So I was looking at Bubba, and I thought, especially after what happened in stage 1, I was like, that really sucks. You should have gotten 10 stage points. You should have gotten a playoff point. If we redo that scenario 10 out of 10 times, we redo that scenario 10 times, 9 out of 10 of those times, I think he wins that stage. But the one instance of where that caution fell and the decision he had to make means he doesn't get those stage points. We'll look at the point standings later in the video, but it really hurts because like he still finishes 3rd today. He had a chance to win and everything, but it's just that we're going to the Roval in 2 weeks. Talladega's a crapshoot. Now, Bubba Wallace is a great research play racer, but when he qualified on pole, I really thought, especially with the track position, this was your chance. This was your chance. Like a 1.5 mile track where Bubba Wallace is good at. I think he had a fast race car. And, yeah, him and Larson racing for the win, right? So, Larson has it in the bag. And another caution comes out, another incident from the 51. And, you have to make this decision. Do you come down pit road? Now, I think the leaders made the right call. Denny Hamlin and some of those guys decided to come down pit road, but you saw earlier the tires don't mean crap, especially when it comes to the end of the race, especially if you want to win. Do tires mean something if you want to gain a few spots? Yeah, I guess so. But if you want to win, you got to be on the front. Like, there's just no way you're going to combat that dirty air. And Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson race really hard, side by side drafting it, because whoever gets in front wins the race. Like, there's no, oh, I'm going to let him go, and then I'm going to run him down. No, because as soon as you get behind him, there's no way you are catching and passing the leader. It's impossible. You try running a different line, they'll just mirror block you, and the second they do, your car will go straight. So, like, there's just nothing you can do. So they were racing for the win. Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson, side by side. It was intense, and Larson just gets sucked around. So, he said it in his post-race interview that doesn't happen as much, and it doesn't. But the way with how hard they were racing and how tight Wallace was on his door, it didn't surprise me to see Larson go around. I was actually kind of expecting it. I was like, I saw through 3 and 4 how close they were, and I was like, man, I have a feeling they might wreck. And I saw William Byron coming through, right? And I was like, will he make it 3 wide? But when they get into 1 and 2, Larson, as soon as he tries entering that corner, can my computer shut up? Oh my God. Larson, as soon as he enters that corner, oh my God, shut up, you stupid computer. I give up. Jesus Christ. Okay, anyways, as soon as Larson enters the corner, it's a done deal. And Bubba Wallace keeps the lead. He keeps the lead. And that goes to the next restart where he chooses the top lane. I think he said in his post-race interview that was the third time he did it. He had the right information, but he decided to go to the top, and he said he made a mistake. I'll be honest, I thought at the time he did it. Being completely honest, I thought that was the right move. I thought you weren't controlling the restart on the first one against Larson. The guy you were going up against was Briscoe this time. Now, all due respect to Chase Briscoe, but I thought Larson was the competition. I thought if you could hold off Larson, then I think you could hold off Briscoe on the high side. I don't think it will be that big of an issue, especially if you get a jump as well. So I thought it was the right move. I really did. And if I was him, I would have done it again. Even knowing how the outcome of the race ended, he didn't win, but I would have done it again. My worry about being on the bottom that late in a race, you're on old tires, is what happens when someone is really on your door. Like, when you're on fresh tires, yeah, I understand when it's early in the race, people aren't going to pinch you as hard. But at this racetrack, at the end of the race, do you want someone on your door that hard? I just didn't think that was the right call. I thought being on the top was better and just try to get out of turn 2 with the lead. And Wallace kind of does that. He kind of does that. The mistake was turns 3 and 4. The mistake was and they were showing this overhead shot of the battle. So Briscoe gets tight, and it checks up both him and Wallace, and Byron tries going 3 wide bottom. But Wallace has momentum, and for a split second, I wonder what it was like in his ear, what a spotter was telling him. For a split second, it did look like he was clear. But all he had to do, and he said it, all he had to do was just run the line. Because he got clear from 3 wide. It was 2 wide, barely. Like, Byron was barely there. And if he just ran that second line and kept the momentum up, he would have been okay. But for some reason, I think it was more panic, or more of, you know how these cars are, right? If I get my car in front of you, you don't stand a chance. The air will kill you. Like, it will kill you. That's it. That's the only job. It used to be like, let me clear him, take the spot. Now it's, let me just get my car in front of him, and the car behind me will die. That's like literally what happened at Texas. And so that's what he was going for. Cuts down 3, tries to get the car in front, but it's just, it's too tight. It's too close. There was a split second. Byron was there, and it made Wallace kind of fidget the wheel. And then at that point, the car was unstable, and you could see Byron just gas it up on the middle of the corner. And he's able to clear Bubba Wallace. It's crazy. It's crazy that you run 267 laps and you lose your track position. You fight all day to get it back. You get lucky with some cautions. You make a good pit strategy call, but this one little mistake, like the most, and I feel so bad for him because I like Bubba Wallace. I think, he's very hard on himself to lose a race like that off the tiniest mistake. It's all you had to do was run your line. Just run the line. Byron was not going to get to you. And even if he did, even if Byron got to you, you'd be able to hold him coming off the corner, hold him down the straightaway, hold him in a 1 and 2 like you did to Larson. But trying to clear when you weren't clear ended up costing you that race. It's kind of crazy how William Byron wins this race. I mean, he only led 6 laps, which was basically towards the end. He was consistent all day. He ran well, but he never seemed like he had the fastest car. And I really thought it was going to be, one of Bubba Wallace or Kyle Larson. Those 2 guys were, once they got the lead, I was like, I don't think they're going to give it up. But it's crazy how this thing works. That's how tight these races are. And yeah, so I'm actually glad that I can talk about, the racing at Texas Motor Speedway. I know it took a lot of, restarts, and it was chaotic. Like, if this thing went green, it would be one of the worst races of all time. We know that. But it was chaotic. It was more about, you're at a terrible racetrack, and you know how you have to race to combat that racetrack. So, knowing that's what cost Bubba Wallace the win. That's really unfortunate, man. And now, he's not even safe on points. Like, think about how well he ran today. He didn't get enough stage points because he got screwed from stage 1, which in turn screwed him for stage 2. Like, you think about that, which I didn't even mention. If that caution at the end of stage 1 doesn't come out, you get your stage points, and you still restart first. If you come out, obviously on pit road, but you have the first pit stall. So most likely you restart first, you're in great position for stage 2. And let's say Larson maybe comes up and passes you, whatever. You still get a lot of stage points. Bubba Wallace got really barely any stage points today. And that's really unfortunate. Like, I feel like the outcome for him today is really heartbreaking because he did not deserve that. He deserved a lot more. When you look at the point standings, which I'll pull up right now, I'll have it on my phone here. When you look at the point standings, to see Bubba Wallace 2 points behind, 2 points behind Kyle Larson is tough, you know. And Larson, obviously, he had playoff points, but that crash, you know, ends up, you know, he's in a little bit of an issue. It's just crazy to see Tyler Reddick 3 points under Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch. You know, Kyle Busch had a loose wheel issue that cost him, so he's 17 points. But heading into Talladega, everyone here is still in it, right? So it's not too crazy. Like, so Bubba Wallace, who had no playoff points, he had a great run, but he's still not safe. But Kyle Larson, who had a lot of playoff points, ends up crashing, but he's still good heading into Talladega. Now, you know, Martin Truex Jr. has another average day, right? Didn't really do anything all day, but he's still 19 to the good. Ross Chastain, he ended up finishing second. Ross Chastain was fast all weekend. He ends up second, but he's 12 points to the good. Brad Keselowski ran top 10, top 5 pretty much all day. He's 8 to the good. Chris Buescher, fantastic run, 22 to the good. Christopher Bell, who ends up finishing in 4th, is 20 to the good, with Denny Hamlin 37 to the good. William Byron, who obviously won, is advanced. And with 6 wins on the season, you have to, you know, assume that William Byron is still one of the favorites, along with Truex. If Truex could just get his stuff together, because he's not had a good playoff run so far, he will be one of the favorites to make the Final Four. But heading into Talladega, guys, Talladega week, Talladega on Sunday. Hopefully I'm moved into my new apartment by the time that happens. But it's huge for Bubba Wallace, man. That's the guy I'm looking for at Talladega. Tyler Reddick, also not the best of days, involved in a lot of incidents today as well. Ryan Blaney just doesn't have the speed, but Ford. You are in a Ford, you're at Talladega. Try to get as many stage points as possible and then see what the Roval gives you. But I'm very worried for Blaney because I don't think he's doing that well. And Kyle Busch is just notoriously not the best super speedway plate racer. But again, it's Talladega. You can't really predict it. The one thing I can say is that Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Ryan Blaney. I'm mentioning Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, Ryan Blaney, all because Ford. If you are a Ford heading to Talladega, you gotta take advantage of the speed that you have at those tracks, and the fact how you're the manufactured bumper and rear bumper align, and that you have a lot of numbers as well. Work together. Chris Buescher could basically put himself in a point where he doesn't got to worry about the Roval if he can get enough stage points at Talladega and just run well. And we'll see how that goes. Larson is who I'm a little bit worried about because he's never been a great plate racer. But I think Larson could do pretty well at the Roval if needed. You know, he's a good road course racer. Not great, but he's a good road course racer. But let's see if he gets through Talladega. That's the race review for tonight, guys. This upcoming week is going to be really hectic. So I'm just going to give you guys a quick little summary. I started my move into the new apartment yesterday. I'm going to be going back there on Tuesday. But we also have to live stream this week for Talladega week. So I'll be live streaming tomorrow night. If I can get everything moved in time and fix the whole bed frame assembly thingy and all that, this nonsense that has to be done, I will live stream Tuesday night as well. I will try to make sure I have videos ready for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If I don't, it's just because there's a lot of things going on. So this week's going to be really busy, so bear with me. But it is Talladega week, so if you want to watch the live stream tomorrow night, that would be really much appreciated. We'll have a normal video out tomorrow as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below of the race. It was crazy. It was definitely a chaotic race, but it's Texas. The sooner we get away from Texas, the better, and the sooner NASCAR can kind of work on this race car, the better as well. But for the championship battle, the championship it's looking very interesting to see who can make the Final Four. Like can Bubba Wallace? I'm telling you, man, I feel like he has a chance. If he could just make it to the next round, you never know. You never know. That's all I'm saying. So, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. Comment down below with what you thought of the race at Texas today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.